Who is the greatest of all time? Many say it's Tom Brady, and recent events have showed that he deserves. He's 43 years old. He's a seven-time champion in the most competitive era ever of football.
Yeah,
He's made 10 of 21 Super Bowls. He has a better Super Bowl ratio than Steph Curry's three-point shot.
I've been up to. That's insane. There's a better
It's
chance of
ridiculous.
Tom Brady making the Super Bowl than there is of Steph Curry making a 3-pointer.
What do you think? Do you think
They're
Tom
both
Brady,
guarantees. They're both fucking guarantees.
both guarantees? Do you think Tom Brady's the greatest? I think we can both agree on that he is the greatest football player of all time.
Yeah, like in greatest. He's not the most athletic guy out there, but overall he's the best quarterback and best football player ever. He leads
Correct.
almost all quarterback statistics,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much all
Minus
of
like
them.
pass yards.
Which is he not? I don't know if him and Breeze were going back and forth for a while. They were switching,
But Breeze
but
doesn't have it though.
yeah, it's Breeze.
Is it?
Yeah, for pass yards, yeah, they were
Really?
going back and forth with each other this year, passing each other.
But what do you think? So I'm assuming you think Tom Brady is the greatest of all time athlete out of all leagues, or what's your opinion on that?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to compare like league to league because like it doesn't really matter, and you can only really go team sports. But yeah, I think so. He's the most dominant of any of them. You can't. You can talk about some of the former NHL Montreal Canadiens players that have like 11 Stanley Cups, but that's only when there's 6 teams in the league.
Hmm.
So I don't really count that. And like just now in this modern era, no one's dominated like this ever. Never mind in this era when there's not really any dynasties anymore.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. So, like when I was thinking about goats, you got to think about who has the most championships. And then there's
And
Bill Russell, 11 championships, but in an era when there was only how many teams, right?
yeah, I didn't know how many teams there were back then.
Yeah, I don't know either, but let's just take it for granted the NBA was such a like the fact that he in 1968 and 1961 won a championship as a player and the coach for Boston Celtics.
Yeah, that's
Like, I
just
think
shows
that
you it's not a very
mhm,
not like nowadays. That's not even considered a professional league probably. Like
exactly right. So goat at the time, Bill Russell though, but just because of time changes, I don't consider him a goat. Great player though.
especially because there's just so much more competition now. I feel
hmm And that's the
like
biggest thing.
back.
So and then so that kind of like that's like my big picture thing here at the end of it with my goat debate. But I know another person that people bring up is Jerry Rice.
I don't know that one. I don't understand that one.
I think it's just because there's never been a receiver as dominant as him. He holds 36 NFL records, which I think is the most of anybody. Three-time Super Bowl, NFL MVP, Super Bowl MVP. He has 208 touchdowns, all-purpose touchdowns, and he's the only receiver to have more than 20,000 yards, and he has 23,000 yards. The only reason why I would give him the credit to be in the category is because he is a receiver and the ball's not in his hand all the time. He doesn't dictate the
Yeah,
success of it. A lot of it lies on your quarterback. If your quarterback is giving you the ball, you're going to be successful.
but
But you got
he
to earn that
still is
though.
talented as shit. Like,
Mhm.
but
I think the
like
reason I think the reason that he's maybe considered the greatest athlete of all time is because he's literally one of the greatest athletes, like physical athletes of all time, ahead of his
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um,
But I don't know how many like records Tom Brady has, but I'm sure it has to be around that number.
it could be. I don't know. He's probably getting up there. It's like 20 or something like that. But different types of records, though, right? Like he's not taking Jerry Rice down for passing yards or receiving yards.
Yeah,
Um, Another commonly considered GOAT, Michael Jordan.
that's the big one. That's the
That's
one I
the
see compared the most.
mhm.
People are
and
like, "Oh,
and
Michael
I think
Jordan's
what's
the GOAT."
unfortunate with Michael Jordan is like he only had 14 or 15 um,
15 seasons.
15 seasons, right? But he only had those 7 years of just absolute dominance when he dominated a league.
Well, I mean, he didn't win championships when he's by himself in his early
Yeah. But like when he was
career
by
days.
himself, though, he proved that he was like the
He was
greatest
a
scorer
great
of all
player,
time,
yeah.
right? Like I think the big thing with Michael Jordan is he proved two things. He proved that he could be the biggest scorer when needed. He also showed you he could win. It's like Russell Westbrook kind of, where it's like Russell Westbrook showed you how he could score and get all the points, but he
But he
just
can't
has
win.
not shown that he can score yet or win a championship.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing with Michael Jordan though is the footprint he left on the game.
Oh,
The
for sure. Like,
he
no,
was the biggest superstar. He was the first big superstar. Like he globalized the NBA. Like I think that's why a lot of people do attach his name to GOAT stats because it's not even what he did on the court; it's what he did off the court. It's what he meant
yes,
for. It's what he
like he
resembled, right?
evolved the game more than anyone else. I would say, like
Mm,
which now I think nowadays Steph Curry's evolved the game of basketball more than anybody else, just
yes.
because of the three.
Mm,
And like you see more people shooting from the logo. Like Dame can do it all the time now. You've seen LeBron try it and airball it. Like the threes just became so much more of a game because of what Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the Warriors did.
yeah, they made it cool. Like I know Ray Allen could be considered one of the greatest 3-point shooters, or Reggie Miller, but they didn't do it the way Steph Curry's doing it. They're not doing
No,
it from the logo. They're doing it from like 1990s basketball, early 2000s basketball.
but I
But
mean,
you can go.
I just still. Or did you have anything? Do you want to say more about Michael Jordan before we got off tangent there?
Um, not really. I mean, like, I think one thing though you need to take into consideration when you're talking about the greatest athlete of all time is their national championships, their college career. You look at Bill Russell. Bill Russell had two national championships, right? So he was just a born winner. Period.
No, yeah, for
Michael
sure.
Jordan had one NCAA championship. You know,
Did, how many college seasons did he play though?
three.
Jordan did.
I think so, two or three. I think. Um, so I'm going to bring up one person who I don't think